All right, real quick sound check just to see if it works. Can you hear me? You can hear me, right?
Yeah, I can hear you. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you perfectly.
Perfect.
All right, my stuff is working great. Hello, everybody. Welcome back to my show, and let's welcome Eddie Nunez. What did I
Thank
just
you.
do? Oh, okay. So, what's up, Eddie? How you doing? Let's see who's here. There's like a lot of people already here. So I've seen access area. We get drone Anu visuals. Eddie Nunez, Jake's Drone Life, Matt Bagwell, Paul Feimerk. What's up, Paulie? And then Capture Life Connection and drinking and droning. That's a
That
brave
sounds like
one.
fun.
Yeah, right. So, anyways, yeah. So today we're gonna be talking about all kinds of things regarding to DJI, simply because DJI is nailing it left and right lately, and I think they have a lot more in store, and that's the reason why it's actually so hard to stink on against DJI. So
Yeah.
let me open the floor for you. There's Yellow Rose Drones. What's up, my man? And I'll be paying attention to the chat as well. If you want to start the open floor first, if you want to. I have something else later on as a giveaway for our loyal customers here.
Oh, that's awesome. Looking forward to hearing what that is.
Yes.
Well, I mean, you know, the topic of your stream is all around DJI, and you know, there's a lot of speculation out there of new products coming down the pipeline, right? We all know that we are expecting the Mini 3. We've seen some shell casings of that, and you know, a lot of wants and needs and wishes with that drone. You know, we saw leaked rumors of the Inspire 3 as well, and most importantly, you know, what they announced yesterday on Monday, which was that Matrice, you know, M30, which is such an incredible, I think it's
Bruh.
such an incredible advancement when you think about what the Matrice was. They made the old Matrice into a Mavic 3 on steroids.
Pretty much. I think that's what the Mavic 3 should have been. But I mean, looking at the size, I don't know if I can pull it up while you stay talking about it. But looking at the size, that thing is huge. And it's pretty much made for like government and rescue. I mean, if you can afford it, if you can spend like what, it's $13,000 and up. So it's
Yeah.
probably the basic model is like 13. You're going to end up like 20 grand for like the full setup with everything. But it has everything. It has FLIR. It has zoom. It has optical zoom, which is crazy. I think what, up to 16 times.
Yeah.
It's for inspections. It's for, I think it's great. And technically seen, based on the way it flies, the only thing that I can think of is what do they do if you pick up a Matrice 30T and there's geofencing?
Oh, right.
So, we have a during the Super Bowl right now. This is just a scenario. We have a incident, and all these firefighters show up, and they want to fly the Matrice. Oh, sorry, but there's a no-fly zone right now. We're not going to take off. No, we can't help you with that.
But my understanding though is that government officials, like government agencies that use DJI drones, they can apply for special waivers where it would unlock these restrictions. They wouldn't have the geofencing pretty much
At all, like upon purchase or per incident.
No, you would have to. I think you have to file for it and apply for it.
Yeah, but upon purchase or per incident?
No, upon purchase.
Oh, so it's like unlocked. So what you're going to do when that runs out and they say afterwards, oh, we're going to sell this because there's a new line coming up. We're going to sell this, or some firefighter takes it home.
Oh, yeah, you got to buy it from the firefighter.
And then they're gonna use it at home because, oh, yeah, we have a new one. You know how it goes, right? Like it's always like, then you have those in circulation, the one without, and that opens it up again for terrorism. For all kind of options. You know what I mean?
Walter Hall in the chat says no, that it's per incident.
Oh, it's per incident.
Yeah.
All right.
So maybe you have to apply each time. Yeah. I know we
have an incident right now. There's people buried underneath. We need to see them. Oh, let's apply first to have the geofencing canceled. That sucks, man.
I would imagine that it's not a cumbersome process because we as consumers can do that now. You can unlock your DJI drone before you head out. I mean, there's a process that you just complete online. It's very simple. Um,
Yeah.
and it unlocks your geo zones, if applicable. Obviously, you can't be in the flight path of an airport, and there's certain things that they won't allow you to. But I mean, it's
See,
not.
and that's where I think it would should come down to the government officials, and it should come down to DJI, where they just simply say, this is a government official, this is a fire station, this is rescue operations. They don't need none of these geofencing craps to apply for each incident. We'll just unlock it, but it's up to the government official to, upon disposal of that drone or selling it, that locking mechanism gets implemented upon purchase from somebody else that is not official.
Yeah,
I
I
think that
agree.
would be better.
It should probably have like a unique firmware that once they offload it, they have to erase that firmware and go back to a standard firmware.
Yeah. So I would like to say aloha to Greg Perrington, and aloha to LA, to Walter Hall. Thanks for joining us. Jake's Drone Life. He actually texted me earlier and is like, "Hey, is your drone? Is your live stream gonna go?" So another reason why it's so hard to stink on against DJI is not only because of the drones. You don't only have the drones; you have cameras too. They have like this
Yeah.
Osmo Action too. They have gimbal stabilizers. I mean, camera stabilizers right here. DJI Ronin. They have so many things that they're coming out with. And then just recently, like 6 months ago, they came out microphones. So they're gonna stink on against people like Rode, the micro whatever the wireless mic that they had.
Yeah,
They're gonna stink on against that. The one thing about DJI, what I like, is the sustainability of those things. Like, I have the Insta360 Go 2, for an example, which is tiny. It's really cool, but you gotta have it mounted like in the bottom. You gotta clip it into something, and then you gotta mount that to wherever you want to mount it. While the Osmo Action, I could just put on my car wherever it was metal, and just pop it on. It was like super convenient, super fast. Recording times on these things is like 20 minutes or something like that. But it's super easy to do stuff. DJI was always really good in having things very easy
simple.
and simple, and you could put away your, like, I'll tell you a Light Plus. Yeah, let's bring out a great freaking controller that feels awesome. You can take the sticks off. Where you gonna put them?
Well, I think
So
where DJI always gets it right is I like to compare them sort of to Apple, right? I don't know if you're an Apple fan or a Galaxy, you an Android and use Galaxy, but Apple does a great job where they keep you in their ecosystem and you want more of their products. The same thing is what DJI is doing. I mean, look at the Ronin 4D, right? They're taking over like the cinema world and the cinema cameras. Now
yes,
we have the Inspire 3 coming out, and I believe that the Inspire 3 will be modular where it's cross compatible with the Ronin 4D. For example, the Ronin 4D, right? You can have somebody pulling focus with the monitor that's using OcuSync to transmit, and you can control the settings while someone's operating the camera. Well, I think you better believe that the Inspire 3, previously you needed a whole other controller, right? With the Inspire 2, a monitor or an iPad or something, a tablet on there. Now I think you'll be able to cross between the Ronin 4D and the Inspire 3. Since the Matrice was foldable, right? The new one, imagine what the new Inspire is going to be. It's going to be more portable. And like
I know.
yeah,
I mean, I looked at the Matrice. I promised I looked it up. I didn't even look it up. Anyways, I looked at the Matrice, and the Matrice itself is like for the amount of capabilities that drone is going to supply to the user. It is intensely foldable and portable.
yeah,
Like, you can put it in a backpack and they can rope themselves off to somewhere and then fly it from there if they have to. It's like crazy. Now, thinking about it, how huge the Inspire 2 was in comparison to something like the Mavic. Now coming up with the Matrice 30, which is a huge drone with all these capabilities, and now having it as an ecosystem where you pretty much on the 4D, it's just like this gimbal right here where you pop this
right.
off and you just turn it upside down and you can mount it with a quick clip, like super fast, into the Inspire 3. Plus, you said that you've seen it somewhere online that the Inspire 3 is going to be foldable.
Yes. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So you're not going to carry around a huge case anymore like you had with the Inspire 1 and 2 with those massive batteries. And I think the ecosystem that DJI always creates is the one where companies gonna fold trying to live up to those expectations. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
So let me look up the video for Matrice.
for sure. I mean, I think it's they're always trying to step it up a notch, even with the Mavic Mini, right? There's a lot of speculation out there, and I think that they'll deliver on something that's going to truly wow us. It's not just going to be another mini drone that's sub 250. It's going to be a mini drone that has additional capabilities that no one else in the industry has right now.
Yeah,
Whether the obstacle avoidance, or who knows, we might get that quote unquote smart controller with it. But DJI is definitely trying to capitalize on the creative space and really tailor to the creators. Earlier, you spoke about the microphone. That's something that I've been eyeing. I've seen several YouTubers, they're using it all the time. I mean, even like when the Mavic 3 released, all those YouTubers had the DJI mic, if you noticed,
yep,
clipped on. It's no secret. It's out there, right? It's coming. It's on websites, but it still shows as pre-order. It's not available. I'm dying for it to come out because I have the first Rode Wireless Go, and it's a good mic. It's excellent. But however, the dead cat that goes on top is always popping off. The second version is the one where it locks in, which is a smarter design. But I'm not going to buy the second version when I can, pick up what DJI has to offer.
yeah. So I found a video about the Enterprise Matrice 30, which was the launch event by DJI. I don't even know if I play the audio on this. Yeah, can you hear it?
Oh,
This is crazy.
I don't know if the chat can hear the audio, but I can't.
Yeah, this is crazy.
I would definitely like to see one in action. I mean, obviously, if they're using it, it's because something bad is happening, but I mean, not in the case like firefighters, yes, and police, yes, but I would love to see one like for inspection work, or just get to see it. I wish we had a DJI like store where you can demo these things like in every state or every part of the world.
Yeah. So I believe Potato Jet has a video on his where he
Yes.
reviewed it, and
Yeah.
I think he was flying it, and it's crazy. Like he zoomed in on a lot of things that were like 900 feet away, and you can see like the
Yeah.
details of everything. And I think the Mavic 3 was like the stepping stone for most of that stuff, where people pretty much like could see already with that Explorer mode how far you could go, because up to times 7 it looked immaculate. It was crazy. And I just had on one of my videos, the last video about the Light Plus, somebody stating that they actually used that to take pictures frequently all over the place to create a panoramic picture. So they took times 7 from here, there to create a 4,000 by 3,000 pixel picture as a panoramic picture, which it was stitched together, and the quality apparently was really, really good. So
Wow, that's awesome.
yeah, I never even think of that, like to use that zoom function in order to actually take pictures and then stitch them together afterwards and just making it great. You know what I mean? I think it's crazy. So that is one of the reasons why DJI is so superior, because they have so many different lines. The main line that they have is their drone stuff. It's the Mavic 3, the Mavic 2 Pro. They have flagships like not only in the small consumer, in the prosumer, no, also in the professional with the Inspire 1, the Inspire 2, and all that stuff. So now with the Matrice 30, they're going government-wise. So it's another money pit for them where they're going to draw out a lot of money.
Yeah.
And because of that funds, because of that monopoly in technology, they're like, I think they're like Sony. Like Sony takes over the world, you know what I mean? Like with a lot of things, music wise, game wise, movie wise, it's like
Mm-hmm.
there's so much backing to each of their products that if there's one product that fails, it's not going to hurt them really, because
Right.
they're still making billions of dollars off the product line itself. So I think that's one of the reasons why DJI, it's so hard to stink on against DJI in general. It comes down to, in the end game, to personal preference and affordability.
Yeah.
I don't see myself going out there and picking up a Matrice 30. You know what I
No.
mean? I might see myself selling my motorcycle and pick up an Inspire 3 if it's affordable. But we've seen already with the Inspire 2. How much was it? Like 20 grand, fully upgraded with everything. So
Yeah,
the
yeah,
Inspire 3 basic model, if you have the 4D already, which is going to run you around 15 grand, plus that thing, you're going to end up like almost at $40,000 to have a fully capable of cinematic drone shots with the Inspire 3 and the 4D in there. But in comparison to the bigger picture now, as a movie production company, that is only 40 grand.
yeah,
40 grand is a quarter of a lens of what they usually use on the freaking Red, whatever, one
yeah.
Red camera without stabilization and stuff. It's like already 20 grand plus the lens come out like 40 grand, not including the batteries, the mounting kits, the operator, all that stuff. So that's where DJI is dipping into those things. And I believe there was a Netflix movie that already utilized the 4D technology. They filmed three-quarter of the film for Netflix, which is coming out, I think, at the end of 2022. I forget the title of the movie, but they filmed three-quarter of that with the 4D.
That's
I'm like,
impressive.
what?
Yeah, that's impressive because Netflix, from what I understand, they always had um a very defined like criteria process of what cameras you can use for their content. So I'm happy that the DJI Ronin made it there, the 4D.
Yeah. I was looking forward to the 4D when it first was announced, and then I followed through it. The one thing that was, because you have the 6K version, it starts at like 8 grand, whatever, and then you got to add on the terabyte SSD, and you got to, all these things. I think for a solo content creator like myself, it's not affordable. You know,
Right, right, right.
But if I would look into getting into it, like I make my own movie production company, or I want to use this for like weddings, if I have constantly weddings that cost like 2-3 grand of income, that stuff is going to pay off quick because that thing is so easy. You can, oh, my team just died today. They cannot come. They're stuck in traffic. So I'm going to be by myself, but I'm going to put that bad boy on a tripod, and then I use my remote screen, and I can follow the bride, and then I switch back to the room. I can zoom in. The possibilities are insanely cool, on that
Yeah,
4D. And then even when you walk around, I mean, the camera moves up and down, and yes, you've seen reviewers like they're running with it. Josh Yo, for example, when run with it next to a car, they mounted it to a car, they mounted it to a drone. You know what I mean? Like it's insane what that 4D can do. But like I said, for solo content creators like us, it's like
no, that's
my
more
wife would
like
kill me if I come around the corner with that.
that's really aligned for like the indie filmmakers who's that's all they're doing is creating, films and the professionals like in the bigger leagues,
Hmm.
if you have like if you have a full-time media production company and this is your absolute only job, then I would say it's definitely worth investing in. But when
Yep.
we're doing like stuff like this as a hobby or we are picking up side gigs here and there, I mean, unless you have exactly, unless you have all the money to spare, then you go for it. But if not, it's just not worth it.
Yeah. Like when I look at myself, it took me 4 years to get where I'm at now. It was a total of 6 years, I think, to move on from action cameras and then having the drift action cameras first to have like one GoPro in between, moving on up to the Insta360, getting me my first Sony A6400, and then like 2 years later, I got me the Sony A7 III for a good deal. I still rely on some of these small action cameras for certain shots. But besides that, you got to remember now, you need a gimbal stabilizer, and there's like the DJI Ronin SC. There's the RS2, like that has a higher payload for do things. You need a drone. At the end game, you're gonna end up spending already like 40 grand for all those things.
Yeah.
While when you look at it, that was spent throughout the years. While this is one investment of 40 grand, it might even be something like if you have a business model and you propose it to a bank, you might even be able to get a loan because I want to make my business. This is the equipment that I need, and this is the income that I would produce with it. So
Makes sense.
might even the banks say, oh yeah, no problem. You have the capability, you have the assets to back it up. And then if you do this, and then boom, before you know it, oh, now you can advertise and say, hey, we have this technology. We have the Inspire 3 for aerial shots. We have licensing. We get the Part 107. We get the 4D. We have the camera crew. We get all the lighting. So the initial investment for that kind of stuff is like what, 50, 60 grand around there for have all that stuff. And then all you need is your license, your car, and the will to do so, and just advertise, and hopefully you can get it. So,
Yeah, it gets expensive when you start buying gear. Like, if you fall into the trap too, and I think the worst thing you can do, I fell into this trap and I'm trying to get out of it, is trying to chase gear, like buying the latest and greatest, because you're never gonna win. And now lately, I feel like lately there's a new something, like for example, today, new Insta 360.
it's
Go
the same as this one.
Yeah, the 1R, right? It's called, I believe,
Yeah,
the 1R. Yeah.
it's the 1R 1RS. It's the
All right.
Insta 360 1RS. Excuse me. So I watched some reviews already. I watched Peter McKinnon's review and all that stuff. It's all fancy and stuff, but in the end game, I watched a couple of the smaller YouTubers, and I was on their stuff. And the Insta 360 1RS is nothing else than the 1R. There's just a little bit better sensor and a little bit bigger battery. So
Yeah.
they did like an
But,
Apple move right there. Oh, we just add on the little features and we want to
but
call
what
it new.
I watched only, I think, 2 videos, but I think what I heard correctly was that, and what I like, if this is correct, is that they allowed you, it's cross compatible, so they allow you to buy like the module for the new one, and you can adapt it to the one that you have. No?
Yes. Yes, you can.
Yeah.
It's just their battery is like a little bit set up differently. Like there's like a long slot, and then this bottom battery on some of them is a little bit bulkier, so you have a bigger case. But yeah, you can interchange. It's interchangeable with each other. And I think the one thing that they added on is like that it's now 48 megapixels, and it has like a half-inch sensor and better stabilization.
Yeah.
But plenty of people said already that because it's the same type of system, it's nothing new, groundbreaking that will justify. I think the triple edition is like $850. Where you get the 1-inch, you get the 4K and the 360 plus the battery and the case, and it's like, yeah, I think it's like $850. For $850, you get 3 different type of cameras, which is pretty cool. But looking at it, that you can buy a GoPro 10 for $399, and then change in the aftermath the 16:9 or 4:3 or whatever, comes out the same thing. You know what I mean? It's like, what?
Yeah. One thing that the reason I recently won an Insta 360, and I never owned one before, but I won one from Insta 360 and FlyPath. FlyPath had the opportunity to do a giveaway, but one of the reasons why I never bought an Insta 360 camera is because their biggest opportunity is that lens, one small scratch, and then it's
Oh.
done, right?
Yeah. I had on this 360 module, I had that. It actually fell off my table right here, this table. It fell off. I kicked it with my foot trying to catch it, and I actually flew it against my workbench. I had a small, slight scratch on the top right here, and you could see it. So I contacted them, and I told them about it, that I tried something. They actually sent me a new one. It was under warranty somehow. I don't know how, but they sent me a new module. I had to send in the old one. They sent me a new module.
Did you have to pay or no?
Yeah, it was like $17 for the shipping. That's pretty much
that's
it.
very cheap. Okay, so that's a good story then. Because what I was gonna say is, why understanding that's it's an action camera, and you're going to damage the lens. I went out and shot for the first time with the Insta 360 on Saturday, and I bought their little lens cover. Well, and I attached it the right way. I followed the directions. I aligned everything. Well, guess what? When I came back home and I looked at the footage, it was horrible because the sun, and the plastic on top of a lens is creating glare. And then you can see, as it's trying to stitch, you can see the outer edge of that plastic protector. And it was horrible. So I ripped it off. I took it off. I don't have a protector on it no more.
I believe in the functions of this, probably in the X2 as well. Inside the menu, there's one during the recording part in the settings where you can put that there's a lens cover on top.
Yeah, I did that.
You did?
Yeah, but the sun flares were it kind of fixed the stitching on around the edges, but the sun flares were terrible on it. I mean, it was really distorted.
Yeah.
But then like my thing is, like, what I would like to see with Insta 360 is make those lens covers removable, so that you can just pop them off and buy a new one, right? You scratched it, oh well. Like I would love to put it on my FPV drone, and I am. That's
Yeah.
that's what the view that I want to get. But I'm afraid, like, what if I crash? What if I have a rough landing on
Yeah.
on a traditional drone? I don't want to mess it up.
So that's kind of cool about the DJI, the Osmo Action 2. I dropped it from my car going 80. It slid off the hood because my hood itself is carbon fiber, but my fenders are metal, so it slid onto from the wind. It got pushed onto the hood, and then it didn't have any more. So it literally rolled over my windshield, over my roof, onto it, hit my fender or my spoiler in the back, and then it bounced off and it fell into the grass. Lucky thing it never hit the glass because everything is still fine. It's just a little bit scratches on the side over here. I have a small indentation in the back over here, but everything else is still good. So Osmo Action 2, yeah, you survived that one. You get a big plus. This one fell off the table and it had a scratch.
Yeah. And what happened when you got the scratch? That you was everything unused, like all the footage unusable, or you just couldn't,
just that side
coordinate?
of the 360, like because it's all the way around. So the back side of that 360, if I had to rotate around, because you have the app where you can look around afterwards, where you can set the keyframes. And at that point, I could see that there was the scratch whenever I was going in that direction, which was annoying and it was kind of sad, But the bad part too is with that, because they have that drone that they brought out where you put that 360 in there like this.
Yeah, yeah.
When you land that sucker, you're gonna scratch the lens no matter what.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So
they made a new version. I don't know if you saw it.
yeah, I did.
It has little legs now, so it won't scratch the lens. So the little legs come down.
Oh wow.
Yeah, it has little legs. You press a switch on your radio, you assign it, and when you're ready to land, little legs come down, and then that way, when it hits the ground, it's not hitting the lens, which was smarter.
Oh, that's good.
Yeah.
So Paul said in here, when DJI, my arm is in the way. When DJI makes advancement in their expensive stuff, some of those features trickle down to their more affordable stuff. So I love seeing those features, and that is correct. That's totally true. That's how they, for an example, did it with this. They had the Ronin S at first, right? Which was the DJI Ronin S gimbal camera stabilizer, which was bigger. And then they came up with the SC, which was smaller. It was more affordable. That's the way I got mine's on, because it was like $299 at the time when I bought it on sale. And shortly after that, they came up with the RS2, which was at first like $1,000 with everything. But I think it had already the LiDAR in there so that it could follow you, yeah. Which was the first step of them to actually moving on to the 4D. So their production line, you can see that there's a development team for each of their products. And like you said, it's literally, it trickles down. So probably they're going to come up with a more affordable version later on with the 4D. It might be something more prosumer than professional, So
Yeah.
I think those kind of things are really cool. And plus they have, like, who else brought out a sub 250 drone? Right now, the Mavic Mini, for example, even the Mini 2 in 4K, that is that much of a flagship in that sub 250 category. Nobody else was able to do that, and they sold millions of these. All over the world, you can see that people fly the Mini 2. All over the world, you can see that people fly the Mini. It's a great starter drone. Like if you ever wanted to start with something, back then I would have said, oh, try the Paradigm Afi. Well, the Paradigm Afi is still a $900 drone, and DJI Mavic Mini now on the Costco package is what, $299? 2 batteries, get the SD card and the charging hub. It's freaking nuts.
Yeah.
And you have a solid drone that flies. And these batteries are crazy. They're super good. Like the small batteries that they have in there. I charged, mine's one up like 3 months ago. I totally forgot about this drone because I was doing all this other thing. Popped the battery back in. The thing was full and I could fly like 20 something minutes. You know what I mean? It held the charge that long.
Yeah, that's crazy. That's crazy.
So it's really, really good. And then now with the Mavic 3 that they brought out, like the battery technology for that type of drone for the prosumer, yeah, it was like $3,000, but you got a lot for it. You got the 3 batteries for it. You got the ND filters for it. And that's another thing too. The ND filters which I love about the Mavic series, is always like to pop on those ND filters is so much easier. Like my Autel, I always got to bring it down and there's like this threading. and they used fine thread, and I'm threading away like full on. I'm like spinning that sucker like 80 times around before it finally comes off, and then I gotta put another 80 to bring it back on. So there's like these convenient gimmicks that they have on their technology that is like really cool, and I think that's what sells most of it, and that's why it's so hard to stink on against them, because it's the convenience of things that the whole package altogether supplies for the user.
Yeah. Paul makes a good point in the chat too. He says, I think for sure they will come out with a 2 to 3K portable version of the 4D. They always start big, get the hype, and then come out with the more affordable, less profit items. So I think about like the Osmo Pocket, right? Like, how do you take the Osmo Pocket to the next level now and make it like a mini 4D? The Osmo Pocket is a great camera. I have the first version, and I literally, that's the only camera that I literally have beat the crap out of. Like that camera has been through hell. I remember one time I was on vacation somewhere, and I was sitting at the balcony of like a resort. So I must have been like on the 4th floor or the 3rd floor, and I was doing a time lapse while the wind came and pushed it. The thing fell down, and I went and got it, and the cover came out, the battery popped out, and all I did was connect everything back together, slam the cover back on, and it turned on, and it did the gimbal calibration, and it was fine.
Wow, that's crazy.
Takes a beating, that little camera.
Me, I'm so baby with everything, like literally everything that I have, like my Sony A7S3, no A7 III. Like I hold on to it so tight every time I walk around. Once in a while, I catch myself just having my fingers like this and then just grabbing it again, and I'm like, "What are you doing? Just, what are you doing?"
I'm the same way. I'm the same way with gear. Like I like keeping my stuff clean. I don't want scratches. I want to keep it good, in good condition.
Yeah,
these
same
things
here.
these things are expensive, so you want to take good care of it.
Yeah, anything is expensive for me. Anything is expensive. It starts already at $50. Having to spend $50, you have no idea how many times I went into Amazon, filled up my cart, looking at it, like, oh, I'm at like $2,000 right now. So I was like, oh, do I really need this? Do I want this?
That's a good question.
Yeah, 2 months later, that whole cart went shrink down to like $650, and it still hurts. And I'm like, oh no, and I take it back out and I would try again. And then the bad part is, like, sometimes I catch myself, I want it, and this impulse buying. That's why I like to use Amazon, because you can return it. Especially when I get in trouble with my wife. So.
Yeah.
What Paul says? Paul says 808 and 80. My wife freaks out when I hold and shoot my camera without a strap. I cannot use a strap because they're made for Japanese people, not Polynesians. Like, if I have the strap on, it's like literally here because it's too short. And like, they need one longer strap, for like the bigger people, because I have a bigger radius, bigger neck,
What I like to use is the Peak Design strap. So the Peak Design neck strap, but the Peak Design has the clips, and they make a wrist bracelet that you attach to one of those clips. So even if you accidentally let go of the camera, it's attached to your wrist. And that's when I'm not using the neck strap, that's what I use.
Okay. I've bought at some point, that quick release thing that you can put into your backpack part where you can clip it on. Yeah. And I dropped my A64. I caught it, but I dropped it because I moved over to the side, and I went like this, and it literally turned it, and then it unclipped it, and by the time my arm went out, all I felt was that my strap on my shoulder strap got lighter, and I'm looking down, and I literally caught it like halfway with my hand, and I was like, OMG. So I took it off, and I returned that damn thing. It was like, I think it was like $60 too. You know what I mean?
Yeah, their accessories are kind of expensive, but they're great. Peak Design is phenomenal. I highly recommend it.
I'm definitely gonna look into it. Definitely. Mm-hmm. Yeah. What else is on the schedule for DJI right now? I think they have the microphone that is supposed to be coming out pretty soon.
Yeah.
They have the Inspire 3, which is going to be foldable, which is super cool. I'm looking forward to seeing that. Right now, they dropped the Matrice 30T, which starts at $13,000.
The Mini?
They have the Mini 3. That's right. The Mini 3. I totally forgot about that sucker.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know what you can do better. I mean, you have already. The only thing that I could think of, the one thing that bugs me is, like, every single time you look at it, because we're moving up, before everything was HD, right? And up to 1080p, and then it started going. It sort of skipped 2.7K and went up to like 4K right off the bat, and then we had it. Now it's frame rates. The one thing that I always look for is, like, for an example, the Osmo Action 2 has 4K 120 FPS. So if a small thing like this can do that, how come so many other things cannot? Is it a programming thing, or you know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
if I look at something, I want 4K 120 FPS, but right now you spending like $5,000 for that kind of stuff for like an A7S3
Right.
or 4, or the A1, the Sony Alpha 1, and it's like, what for 4K 120? It's like, and then now they have that. What is that? The Sony? Is it a Sony?
The Sony what?
The VZ1 that has like 900 something FPS, whatever. But when I looked at it, the crop is really small. Like, it's a really small image. So I want to see 4K 120, because that, in my eyes, is the new norm. Because back then it was. Right now, if you want a slow mo of something that is a quick shot, you film it in 1080p 120, and then you upscale it to 4K. Have some loss of resolution depending on how much light you have. But I think 4K 120 is the new future for people, for filmmakers, content creators, whatsoever. So I want to see that more often in things implemented, because if GoPro 10 for $399 can put it into their camera, which you can see that is like super easy to do and it looks great on 4K, and the Osmo Action 2 for what this thing costs $549 with all the accessories and stuff. So how come I gotta pay $5,000 for a freaking hybrid camera for that?
That's a valid point. That's a valid
You know?
point. Yeah.
And I mean, even the Galaxy, the Samsung Galaxy S20, which you get usually through your 2-year contract when you sign up for it, whatever, your phone has already 4K up to 8K recordings.
Yeah.
And the phone is like $1,000. So how come I gonna pay $5,000 for like a hybrid camera to do that? So those features, I think, is future. Just like CD was a future of VHS, and how now digital, everything is digital. There's no more CDs or DVDs, and everything is digital these days. So I don't understand why they can't make that as the new norm. I think they're holding out just to slowly build it up to that. Because looking at it, from me, like you said before, I was a gear freak too. I wanted the newest of the newest things. I wanted, when the RS2 came out, the DJI Ronin RS2 came out, I wanted one. I was like, oh, but I had a SC, and I'm like, it still does what it's supposed to be doing. It's okay. The RS2 has more payload. It has the LiDAR. If it's fully loaded, you have all these extra things. You have the follow focus motor and shit. But even with drones nowadays, it's like, okay, they all fold up GPS. They all have 4 motors. They're all super stable. So what's the next? I was disappointed when the Light Plus came out and never had 4K 120, or it had 4K 60, but then 2.7K was 60 as well. Wasn't 120 anymore. The Ultra Evo 2 Pro has 2.7K and 120. So I don't understand. Like, sometimes they can and sometimes they cannot. But then the camera housing of the Light Plus looks the same as the Evo 2 Pro. So I think it has to do with chipset or whatever they use,
I think
and it has to do with programming.
I think for the bigger cameras, right? Like you were mentioning, like let's say mirrorless cameras, I think they do that on purpose so they don't cannibalize their sales. Like, for example, like if you want 4K 120, then you got to get the A1, right? Or the A7S3, because if you go with the A7 IV, we can't put that feature on there, because then why buy the A1 or the A7S3? So it's like a tier system, right?
Yeah, it's a marketing thing, and I think that's where the consumer suffers every single time, because you want this, oh, you gotta buy this camera, or you want that, you gotta buy this camera. You know what I mean? So it really sucks. Like, that you have to. They're always trying to make you spend for what you want, what you need next, for the next level, and I think that's wrong. Like,
or
from the consumer perspective.
Yeah, or even like requiring specific accessories in order to make the device work. Like, for example, the A1 or the Sony A7S3, you got to buy those CF, Express Type A cards. And what are the price for those? Like 160 gigs is going to cost you like $500.
300, yeah, $350 to $500 depending on how big.
Yeah. So
yeah, because I was looking at that too. I was looking into getting me the Sony FX3. And then I looked at it and I was like, oh, because I have all the lenses because I'm running Sony, right? I'm a Sony filmer, so I have all the lenses for my Sony. And I figured, okay, I wanted a dedicated film camera because I do all film. I don't know why I ever went with hybrid, but then I went with hybrid because the filming cameras were so expensive. So what I did afterwards was I actually went look up the FX3, and when I looked up the FX3, I was like, oh, you need the CI Express cards and you need a reader for it, and all right, that is going to add on another $800 in the end game to add on to the regular price. So this is the stuff that they don't tell you. You know what I mean? Those kind of things. So
yeah.
My wife is in the chat as well. Hi, honey.
Hello, welcome. She's like, the FX3, huh? She's googling. What is that?
Yeah. Well,
let me see what that comes in at. What price?
Nah, I'm not gonna lie to her. I'm gonna tell her straight up, because she had asked me back then already when I wanted another camera, and I told her, so I need the A7S or I need the A7 III. I wanted to full frame. I wanted to upgrade to full frame because I get the 6400 right now, which was the APS-C, and I told her, I like go full frame, and she said, oh, how much is that? I was like, it's about $2,400, and she's like, okay, honey. I think if I would have told her $4,000 like I do right now with the FX3, then it's gonna be more like a do you really need that?
Now, when you do your drone videos, which camera do you find yourself going using, the A6400 or the A7 III?
I use the A6400 to do my time lapse, and then I use the A7 III as the vlog because I have the 16mm lens.
Okay.
The 1.4, this one right here.
That's the Sigma, right?
The Sigma.
Oh, you must have to look at that.
Yeah, it's the Sigma, the 16mm. Yeah. So that is one of my favorites too, because you can be really close, and she's really quick in.
That's what I'm using right now.
In focusing, and you can get that nice bouquet in the background like you have right now. It's a really nice lens. Plus, you get the low light capabilities, and I use it a lot for time lapses at night. Like I put it up, and it has that huge horizon view. You know what I mean? Things like that. So it's really good. I really like it.
Good lens, yeah.
So I'm just waiting for the moment that DJI actually gets into hybrid cameras maybe someday, because if they do, the work gotta buckle up. People like Sony and Canon.
Well, they have they have the Hasselblad Science, right? That's their partner. So imagine a DJI camera.
Well, I'm not a big fan of that Hasselblad. I mean, Hasselblad, it does look nice if you want that whole color grading and log, and I'm just not a big fan of it because it desaturates the stuff and it darkens it, so you can blow up the colors. But I don't know. I think on some parts, that's the one thing, the downfall on DJI is I think the gecko just pooped on my drone. He just literally pooped on my drone. You little sucker.
Maybe is that good luck? Hopefully it's good luck.
I hope so. Well, he just literally crapped on DJI.
Which drone was that?
That is the Mavic 2 Pro. That's the one that I bought from Ken right here.
Oh, he pooped on that one.
Yeah, he pooped on that one. Anyways, but yeah, so the one thing about DJI, what I think is they have so many cool gimmicks. The only thing that I think what they do is to preserve money is sometimes they go cheap on certain things that are vital. Like the Mavic 3, I really liked it. Okay. It's a great camera. It's a great drone. But why did they mess up on the glass so bad that you have those green lens flares with those glass balls? They ruined a lot of shots with that. Looking at the Autel glass, it's premium, and it's like the lens flares are beautiful. Now that they came out, somebody posted on one of the groups, they posted that anamorphic cover that you can put on top to film. I'm looking forward to seeing that. I think it's a really cool gimmick to do that. It's just, if you really look for anamorphic stuff, it has to do with lens flares again. So now, where does it work? Like with that green glass ball being so intense. So I don't know if it's the quality of the glass or the type of glass that they use or the way they shaped it, formed it, or whatever they did. You know what I mean? I have no idea. So
yeah.
I don't know why my dogs are going nuts, but I'm about to kick some butt pretty soon.
But let's see. Something else that's out there in the rumors that we should see is the DJI FPV drone. So what's expected of that drone is we're thinking that it's gonna be sub 250 from what I'm reading online, right? Or sub 250 grams, and it would have ducks around the propeller, so almost like a Cinewhoop.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, that's the rumors that's out there. Would it be
Okay.
true? Who knows?
I know that I've seen a render of something at some point, and I'm not quite sure what that render was, if it was just a fan-made render, but it looked futuristic and it looked really cool.
Yeah, I saw that. I know exactly what you're talking about. Yeah, it looks to me that looked like too fake almost. It looks too futuristic.
it looked like one of those futuristic mech warriors flying through the air, like that whole. But I mean, if it's sub 250, that is like a Cinewhoop. Of course, it's got to have ducts. It's got to have all kinds of stuff. Where I believe that because you have the sub 250, you have a lot of wind influence. Right now, with the DJI FPV, how it is right now, that thing, I flew it around coastlines and stuff. The wind was barely an impact on that drone at all. Now, if you go lighter, I think you're going to have issues.
Well, yeah, lighter and ducks don't go hand in hand, because if you ever try to fly a traditional FPV drone with ducks and it's high winds, you're not moving. You're getting pushed by the wind.
Yeah, so that I think that's one of the reasons why I never went with that. I flew regular FPV, real FPV, only twice, and I was scared because I didn't know how to land. I wanted to fly Ken's one, but then Ken was so occupied with his stuff going on at home, so I never bother him.
Yeah.
So he got some good shots though from where he was at.
Just, break his, don't break yours.
Definitely. So I have something to give away, and I wanted to send that to you too. So I need your address later. I'm gonna hit you up for that. Okay. Today, my stickers came in for my channel. I ordered, and I haven't looked at it at all. And I know that they're not cut because there was an option to cut it, which was like $60 extra.
Really?
So I decided not to have it cut, but it's die cut. And I think it's just on that whole entire. Oh my god! Doesn't want to come out. Killing me. There we go. So let's see. Let's check it out. Oh yeah, baby. Check this out. This is my stickers right here. Is it one sheet? Oh yeah, it's like one sheet. So let's pull out one sheet. Oh no, that sheet is long. I'm making a mess right here. Here's the stickers, guys. I have stickers right here. So if you guys want a sticker sent to you, since you're here right now, this is only for the live stream right now. So I don't even know. It doesn't really matter. If you send me an email with your address, I'll send you a sticker. Not going to cost you anything, but you got to live within the United States of America. Not going to ship it worldwide. That's too far.
Yeah.
So, if you live in the United States, even Canada and Alaska, I think I can still ship it out like an envelope. I don't know. Is it going to be international shipping? I don't know. For an envelope, it's probably not too bad.
Yeah, I think so, but it's cheap. Shipping to Canada is not expensive.
Okay. So, yeah, but if you want a sticker, I'll send you a sticker, guys. It's going to be in a small envelope. Just send it to that address that I just popped in the chat in the bottom, and I'll send you a sticker as a thank you for always supporting me. Like, people always support me.
That's very cool.
Just by watching. And I figured I'd order me some stickers, and I'll send you some too. And I'll shoot you a message later on a messenger.
Okay,
so
cool.
I can send it to you.
Well, I appreciate that.
My freaking wife needs to get out of this chat, so I can get one sticker too.
Have you been leveraging I forget the device that you recently installed?
Oh the Marble Orbit.
Yeah. Have you used it recently?
Oh yeah. When you watch my last two videos, the one where I like the stuff about the Light Plus and the ones that I don't like, the B-roll is all shot with that.
Oh, I'm gonna take a look.
Yes, the B-roll is all shot with that. I put only a little bit in it, so like sprinkles here and there. You want to put sprinkles,
Yeah.
The system itself, the Marvel Orbit, is an intense, cool device. I'm so happy that I picked it up. It gives you so much more opportunities of filming by yourself because I don't have nobody who can help me film, so I always have. That's why I was looking so much into the 4D, because get that controlling pad and the zoom. And with this, it's so much cooler to just set up shots and having things there, and like, and plus you can do it mobile too. So I bought the Pro package, which comes like with a rail mounting system. I just got to pick up the rails and then 2 of those C stands, so I can mount it somewhere outside, and I can drive a car underneath, and I actually can rotate around the car if I wanted to.
That's crazy.
I can extend the arms as long as I want, because the payload on this thing is like 25 pounds. So it's huge. Like up to, I think Josh tried it out, like up to 50 pounds. And that camera dolly system, that orbiting system, is really good. Super controllable, has like 10, and get remote control, get one light ring, So I'm gonna make a video about it too. I'm gonna do a review about it because I really like it. Comes with a lot of attachment and kits, and you can actually put 2 cameras, 1 on each. And the coolest part of everything is there's a time lapse function. So what I'm working on right now is another video. I don't want to take away too much of it, but it's gonna have like a time lapse of a Lego drone assembling itself. You know what I mean?
Oh, okay.
So it's really cool. Like it's insane. I really like it. I think it's one of the best Kickstarter programs that this is my first Kickstarter program ever that I pledged for, and I'm super happy that I actually invested it.
How long did it take from the time that you contributed to the time of getting it?
2 years. 2 years.
Wow.
So that had to do with because it was back in November of 2019, I believe, and then it was scheduled to be delivered by October of 2020. No, 2021.
Okay, and
Something
I guess it was delayed because of COVID and supply issues and all that other stuff.
Yeah. So and because of that, it ended up being like not until February until the US. Plus, you had to pay extra shipping if you didn't want to wait for the shipping part with the boat. So you had to pay like $170 extra shipping afterwards on top of the FedEx, which was feasible in my eyes, because now I think I picked it up for the pledge. It was like $1,400, the early bird special. I think that thing costs like $3,000 now.
Wow.
So
you got a good deal.
Oh, hell yeah.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So it's totally worth it though. Like I would have never thought of anything like, I tried myself doing anything like that. Like, that whole DIY orbiting dolly kind of thing. I tried a wheel hub. I tried all this other stuff. It just didn't work out because you never have the full control of the speed. This has a motor there's so much torque in that motor. That's the only bad part, because it doesn't stop. I took down my softbox. I took down one of my screens. So, but it's really cool. It's really good. It's a super cool investment. I'm happy that I did. So I'm looking forward of making more videos with that and about it as well. So
cool.
Definitely.
Good stuff. I like when we get like new gadgets, new innovations, because then it's not stale, right? Like, a lot of the stuff is like gradual upgrades, but it's not new where it's exciting.
Yes. So it's like even sometimes, like when I first got the DJI Mini, it was out there already for like 6 months, 7 months. I've seen people make videos about it and all that stuff, so I didn't see the need for me to make any videos, but it was just cool to have as a new gadget and flying it and filming with it. And I used it and abused it like crazy. I crashed this sucker like 20 times going through like tight spaces, but because there's no sensors that hold you back, nothing, it's just all up to you to fly it and just go slowly through it. And with the 2.7K upscaling it to 4K, I got some really cool shots with it. So, but anytime new gear comes in, oh my God, it's like, yeah, it's Christmas.
Yeah, exactly. I know the feeling.
Definitely. Anyway, so yeah, that's pretty much sums it up, I think, for DJI. Why it is so hard to stink on against them. It's because the monopoly, because the money, the backing that they have, and the type of technology that they actually promote, in the vast variety that they're actually promoting that stuff with. So I would like to thank you for taking time out of your day to be my co-host today.
Oh, my pleasure.
You're definitely going to have something tomorrow as a co-host.
So tomorrow we don't have a live stream.
Oh, you don't?
No. So Ken is taking a Drone Brews is taking like a 4-week vacation.
Oh, where did he go?
So he's taking a break from live streaming because he wants to come back fresh. So
Okay.
on his last live stream, he mentioned that he started working out. He's at the gym. He wants to get healthy. So he wants to rebrand it. He no longer wants to call it Drone Brews because then that forces you into drinking, and he kind of wants to get off of that bad habit. I mean, let's see how long he lasts.
Yeah.
But hey, he's gonna try it out. So he's
All right.
yeah, we're coming back with a new branding. We want to make it more interactive where I don't know if you remember like Friday Night Flights where people used to submit their footage and we would play it. So have a segment for people to submit their content and make it interactive, but just a whole new branding, a whole new live stream approach. So Ken, he gets an award always for being creative. So he has some really good ideas in mind, and I know that he'll pull it through.
All right. I'm looking forward, definitely. So if that's the case, then I might hit you up for be my co-host for the next 4 weeks.
Oh yeah. As long as I don't get fired from Ken.
I don't think so. I don't
Yeah.
because I'm gonna, if anything, I'm gonna do mine on maybe then Tuesdays instead of Wednesdays. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
because
Well,
it's anytime like StreamYard. I figured because I pay for it, I figured anytime I can make a live stream. So sometimes once in a while I just pop it up like last minute kind, and I just
right.
like, oh, okay. So yeah, anybody, if anything, just make sure you guys check the chat for the email address if you guys want the sticker of mine for my channel, my new channel logo. Send me an email with your address and I'll send you one. But you got to be within the United States or Alaska or Canada. Cannot be anywhere like Japan and all that. Okay. Thank you, Eddie. I appreciate you. Thank you for coming by. We're not going to have that whole outro thing with like how you guys get in Drone Brews where we haze the people. So
Yeah, no,
mine's one is just it's got to be done, then it's done.
Good.
Okay. I
All right.
appreciate all you guys coming by. Definitely don't forget, if anything, be a nice human, make somebody else smile, and pay it forward. Aloha, everybody.